So today I'm going to start off with these flower bulbs that we've picked up and have bloomed. We were shopping in the garden center at Rona and we saw these bulbs and decided they were on sale. They're starting to come, all the bulbs. So we thought we'd just plant some in some pots here and just get some flowers growing indoors. Kind of missing the garden, so just nice to have something with a nice scent indoors. And I've heard from someone that these flowers actually have a nice smell to them. Just trying to find the name here. These ones are called narcissus. Not good pronunciation on that. Otherwise known as paperwhites. I've just cut the top of the package and put it on the pot so I wouldn't forget, because I'm not going to remember narcissus. And wow, this pot's a bit small. Got the roots all coming out there, so I have to just put this into a taller pot. Now, bulbs tend not to grow much roots for width-wise, but these bulbs might be a bit deep, and they might need a deeper pot to grow some deeper roots. So I might repot those to a 1 gallon pot. So they're quite bright in the sun here, and they seem to be enjoying it. These are the celery stalks where we cut off the roots and we grew them in some water. They did quite well. This is actually to the point where they grew to before we put them in pots. And they seem to be doing just fine, except for this one. Looks like it's dying off. Good chance that it just didn't have enough roots in there to pull water out of soil. So it might have been too early to put that one in dirt. Other than that, these are Chinese celery. This one I think is a regular celery. And then up over here I have one more Chinese celery. So of course the Chinese celery are doing really good, but they had quite an extensive set of roots on them when I put them in the soil, whereas the regular celery didn't. And so I think that's what part of the problem is with this guy down here. Trying to get this sun out of my eyes here, but hopefully it'll be a great spot for when these potatoes start growing and the greens get a pot above the lid here. Right now they're quite shady. They seem to be getting enough reflected light off the wall to be doing quite well. They are dark green, so they do well with low light. But they, of course, they do better when they're actually in some sunlight. Right now, I'll bring the camera in closer so you can take a look. So here we can see a couple of stalks from the potato plant. Each one, well, actually on the left, there's a small one in front of the tall one there, so it kind of looks like one. There's actually 2 stalks. Actually a bit of a third one there. Maybe I'll just rotate here. You can kind of get a better idea. So each grouping is 1 potato. I didn't bother cutting potatoes. We had so many, I just threw them all in there. So there's four potatoes in this bin. And down here, 2 more groupings, 2 more potatoes. And actually this one looks like it's got a grouping on the other side coming out. Over here on this side again, we're doing quite well. And the one in the bottom left seems to be lagging behind a little bit, but nonetheless, it's coming along. On top of the soil, we can see roots coming out already. So, May wants to grow a lot of roots, so I need to throw some soil in there. Just to the right, that's just a weed I've pulled up and just threw it back on the soil, let it die, and you can feed the soil again. So we'll come back in another week or 2 and take a look and see how they did. See how it goes. Keep an eye on it. Again, maybe a little bit later I'll add some more soil. Right now, this is majority of this is actually well, probably the first 2 inches. I've got a layer of a mix of soil, compost, and actually perlite. On top of that, I have another inch or 2 of store-bought compost. And the store-bought compost is usually compost that's completely done. It's not active at all, and it will. Hi. You're interrupting again. It shouldn't harm the plants. It should be pretty good for the plants at the level it's broken down to. The one thing you got to be careful with, or I find that I have to be careful with this compost, is you can quickly get mold or I guess mold on there, and if it's in direct sunlight, because it's very, very rich, so it's a lot of nutrients there. So I might throw on another layer of dirt just to keep the mold growth down. Don't have any really growing in here yet, maybe a little bit. But I'll put a layer down, and maybe what I'll do is each time I put some soil in here, I'll put a layer of compost and I'll just cover it with a little bit of dirt just to keep the mold growth down. Other than that, yeah, doing really good, growing pretty fast here. I'd say, what do you think? An inch a week? Have you been tracking it? You should measure it. Yeah, you should. So the weather's a little bit warmer, and they came out to take a look at the garden. Quite a few surprises about what survived, and what I can do is go around the garden here and just explain some of the stuff we've done to protect the garden over the winter. For the most part here, we can see a lot of spinach has done well. Actually, in the bottom right area, we can see some sprouts coming out, and also we can see kind of on a little bit of a vine, we've got some strawberries. This was all buried under several feet of snow, protected from when we had the cold snap, and so everything's just fine. This is some of the burlap we have lying down underneath. Take a look. Strawberries are still quite green. Some blueberry leaves actually survived. Actually, we have a blueberry plant right down here. It hasn't even hardened off. So just laying some burlap on the ground's really helped protect everything. And then with some snow on top. Again, this is more spinach. They got hit a little bit by some frost, but it's coming back. This is a new blueberry variety. Unfortunately, I don't have the label handy right now. I'll have to check that in a second. But our older blueberries didn't do too well. They didn't hold up the cold, and so they had a hard time bouncing back when spring came. So this new variety has done quite well, and we can see we actually got some buds just waiting for spring. Now I'm taking a bit of a guess on this, but we did have a peach tree or a peach seed that had sprouted a tree. It was growing quite well. Looking back in the photos, I was actually thinking today what may have become of it buried under snow, if it got pushed over, bent, or destroyed, or even it survived the cold. And coming out, I'm pretty sure this is it. Now it's hard to tell because there's no surviving leaves, but the leaves do look rather long and thin like a peach leaf would. So it'll be interesting to see if this tree survives. So last spring, one of the shops here, I can't remember if it was Rona or Home Depot, but they had a sale on dirt. They had these bags here, 28 liters for $1.69 or $1.80 each. So, which worked out quite to be quite a good deal. For that much dirt, if we were to get one of those cubic yard bags of dirt, it would actually cost us more to have that, because we also got to pay for the delivery. Even taking into account for the cost of gas of going to the store, picking these up and bringing them home, it was still cheaper. So we ended up filling our garage full of these bags of dirt. Nothing special about them. They don't have a whole bunch of chemical fertilizers or anything in there. It's just your basic dirt, probably surplus dirt from the greenhouse or something. But pretty basic stuff. But yeah, it was a good deal. So I think I can't remember how many bags we bought, but it was, I think I got about 10 bags, a load in the car, in the trunk, and probably made about 5 or so trips, so about 50 bags. But I think we're down to I think I got about 10 bags left in the garage and maybe 5 in the shed. So it'll last till spring, get our potted plants going in. We use it mostly to supplement our gardens. When we dig a new garden, we try to load up with new soil, take all the clay in the poor soil out, and top it up with some good stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I've got the potatoes here, and they need to be topped up because, again, the roots are starting to come out. I've got roots growing on the top of the soil here. So we need to put some more soil in there so those roots can grow. Of course, where those roots grow, we're going to get potatoes. And the deeper we can get the soil and the roots growing through there, the more potato production we're going to get. So I'm going to go ahead and start that now. Now, I don't want to just throw the soil in like this because you run the risk of crushing the plants, bending them. So I have to do it gently, one scoop at a time. That'll take some time, but it's just the best way to do it without damaging the plants. So I'm just throwing it against the sides of the bucket, and then it'll kind of avalanche into place. And once I figure I've got enough in there, I can gently move it around. It's a big bucket, so it's going to take quite a bit of soil. I don't want to do too much. I've got a lot of small shoots going in there, so I'm going to end up burying them a little bit. But if I put too much in there, I'm really going to bury them. And with them having the leaves coming out now, they may have a hard time pushing through. So just a little bit, one step at a time, no rush. And once I water it down, it's going to settle a bit. One more scoop for now, should be good. And then once we water it, see how much it settles down. And then I can add more soil later. All right. This guy. It's pretty dry soil. Buried a couple there. Not too deep. Just covered it. I mean, if I wanted to, I could throw this whole bag in there. There's definitely room for it, but I'll wait to see how it settles out first. Quite surprised how quickly these plants grow. They're up there with sunflowers and tomatoes. Tomatoes grow pretty fast. Looks like a dead worm there. Yeah. Some extra compost. Just put this in a bit. Should be good enough for now. Again, the main thing is really get those roots covered and give some space for the roots to grow. I know I don't have plants over there, so I'll tuck those up. Okay. Now I've got some pots to repot, so I'm going to save the rest of that soil, and I'm pretty much done here. So of course, one of the biggest problems with an indoor garden is if you ever get bugs from the outside inside. There's multiple different bugs you can get. Spider mites. Our biggest one is aphids. Calgary is really bad for aphids. And so we do get aphids coming inside when we come in and out during the summer. And we've had a few aphid infestations on our plants. One way we've dealt with them is spraying our plants with neem, just soaking them. It's really hard on the plants, and sometimes it takes multiple treatments to get rid of them. But the most effective method I found so far is, rather than trying to beat the problem, is work with the problem. And trying to look for my little friend here right now. In the fall, we brought some ladybugs in, and so far they've survived for the most part. We've lost quite a few, but I think we've got one or two still floating around, and they've been busy eating these aphids. And what helps them also is by taking the plants the aphids love the most. In this case, are nasturtiums. They're a very easy plant for the aphids to attack, whereas the tomatoes and pumpkin, they've got little fine hairs on them, which makes it very hard for the aphid to attack the plant. Some of our other plants, like the spinach, I'm not sure if they really like the taste, but they love the taste of the nasturtiums. So I put the nasturtiums in the middle, and then I leave the ladybugs to the nasturtium. And here we have, I'm not sure if you can see in there. Again, this camera doesn't really focus well with near distances. No. And I think it might be the light in here is just too bright.